All right, hello everyone. My name is Cody, and great to be here. I'm so privileged for this opportunity, and I want to thank each one of you for coming and for listening to me for the whole time without falling asleep. By faith, right? All right, I hope you'll enjoy today what I have to share with you. This is my story, my journey in Taiwan. Next month, it'll be 10 years that we've lived here in Taiwan, and I wouldn't live anywhere else. I like the USA, I love my country, but I love Taiwan too. It's a great place to be, and hopefully we'll have a little bit of fun today in this class. At the end, I think I'm supposed to ask some questions or something, so there'll be a little bit of a quiz at the end. So maybe you'll throw out some dates, like when did I come, and which time, and when did I get married, things like that, something around those lines. So I just want to thank Ife for letting me have this opportunity, and anyone else involved, and those who also worked in getting this meeting together, those working sound and video and things like that. Thank you so much. All right, so this is my journey in Taiwan. This picture was taken back in 2007 when I first came, but you'll find out about that shortly. I'm so privileged to be here. First time actually coming in the gate at Providence. Last week I was here, but I picked up a couple of the Swaziland students when we went up to Geelong for the weekend. So first time being inside the gate. I'm hoping to see that big building that I saw on Google Maps. The one that looks like a church or something, that looks like a upside down Noah's Ark or something like that. It's pretty cool, right? It's pretty neat. Is it a chapel? Yeah, is that what it is? Chapel. Okay. All right, I hope to see that before I leave the ground, so maybe you guys can show me that place. So my name is Cody James Randall. I love the meaning of names. I love etymology, the study of words, right, and how they break down suffixes and prefixes and putting all the words together. And what are the meaning of those words? Well, my name means helper. Cody means helper, and that's basically what I do, and you'll find out about that in this presentation. Well, my middle name, James, means protector. I'm highly protective. Actually, on the way here, I was just about a block away, getting ready to come down the road to the school, and a young man on a scooter pulled out in front of me. I was almost in an accident on the way here. He pulled out in front of me. He was going really, really fast around the corner. He almost had his scooter on its side. That's how fast he was going around the corner. And so when we parked at the next block, 1 block away from the school here, I got out of my vehicle and I went to talk to him. I'm worried about him. I talked to him and said, you need to slow down and be careful. You know, I've got 4 kids in the car. I need to protect my family. So I'm very highly protective. And also my last name, Randall, coming from Randolph. We traditionally come from England, my family, but we also have some Irish in us. When I grow my beard out, I have a little bit of red in my beard. So I know that I got some Irish in me. So anyway, the meaning of that is shield or wolf. So the same idea, protector. We stick together, we protect each other. And so that's what I do here in Taiwan, the same. I care for people, I help them, I protect them like a shepherd would protect the sheep in the same way. So, isn't that right? My daughter Kaylee saying, yeah, Daddy, get him, go after him. Or as a child, I was just an average kid. I wasn't anything special. I wasn't Mozart, couldn't play piano at 3 years old or 5 years old. Didn't do that kind of thing. I was a model kid. You know, they had me in the magazines there showing off some clothes and stuff. But anyway, average young man too. Nothing special, super special about me, just average. But I have a desire to help people, to see their lives changed for good. So as a young man, I considered, what should I do with my life? Should I become a police officer? It kind of fits, right? Maybe go into the military. These kind of things is what I was considering. But I decided that I wanted to build upon the lives of young people. I wanted to help young people, especially in the areas that I struggled with myself. I wanted to assist in building in their lives. So I started to work in our church back in the USA. This is my pastor. He passed away a few years ago, but he started our church and pastored it for 50 years. Pioneered it in that area. And his name was William Hill, a very famous guy actually, wrote many books, went many missions trips all across the world, especially in Africa. But I started working in our church, especially in the bus ministry. That was one of my first ministries to help in. We'd go out and we'd bus kids, bring them in on the buses. We'd go to different towns in the area and reach out to the kids. So the bus ministry, let me explain about that real quick. The bus ministry was basically bus captains and leaders, and then they also had helpers. I was typically the helper, because I was too afraid to speak to people. Doing something like this would give me nightmares for weeks if I had to speak in front of a crowd. If I thought about that as a teenager, oh my. So we'd literally go into some children's homes, dress them, feed them, bring them to church, bring them out of their home situations. A lot of them are in very difficult situations for a little while. We talked with them, we counseled with them, we even fed them. We gave them a meal as they left our church, and on the way back to their home, we would give them peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, some juice, things along those lines. Also, some of them were in daily situations of divorce and violence, neglect, starvation, drug abuse, some things unimaginable, and things we didn't learn about until years later when they became adults, and then they would tell us about those things that they experienced, like this. Some children years later testified saying, sometimes when you fed me on Sundays, I hadn't eaten in days. I was naughty, so my parents would punish me, or my dad would punish me and wouldn't allow me to eat in the house there. So it was great to see that we had some impact. We could help them in some ways. Also enjoyed serving in the youth camps. This is one of my first inspirations, is working in the youth camp, especially when you get to drive a four-wheeler in a youth camp. I mean, what greater job than that, right? Taking out the trash. This isn't the trash. This is my friend. But after we took down the trash, he jumped on the back there as a pastor's son. So in the youth camps, I volunteered for 5 years as a counselor. Many things involved in that. I usually worked with others to prepare the camp in advance, building, preparing, getting the grounds, the buildings and everything ready for the campers to come. There was also cleanup involved. We weren't too high and mighty to scrub toilets and clean up all the trash and things along those lines. I also developed a love to minister to teens and children during this time, seeing the reward of lives changed, seeing them touched, especially by God, in these services. Many of the people, the children coming to the summer camps were also those from the bus ministry, so I got to see them come out of those family situations, out of the hellhole in which some of them lived, and into a place where they could be nurtured, into a place where they weren't yelled at and spit on and beat up constantly, and God could get a hold of their lives and change them and help them. So it was greatly rewarding. This is a picture of one of our youth camps back in 2006, and this is the time where I really started to dedicate my life to the Lord and see my life change and be helped in a way that I could help others. So you know that, right? You've got to be helped before you can help others. You got to deal with things in your own life before you can help others. That's me back there, and this is my lovely wife, Hannah. You'll find out more about her later. I'll have some wedding pictures for you girls, later. Don't worry about it. But it's so fun times. I was kind of a goof off when I was younger, a silly guy, class clown. We got any class clowns? Don't raise your hands, right? Class clown, you like to goof off, make fun a little bit. So I'm always thankful when I don't reap what I sow in a class, and there's always not somebody in the back making fun and making a bunch of noise, because I know I'm reaping what I sow when I experience that, because that was me, a little bit of a class clown. But I enjoyed serving in the youth camps, helping out with the kids. It was my great joy, and led me later to the things that I do currently. Also, one of the things that I did growing up and through when I started to minister was going to visit people in prison, like my cousin who was on drugs and ended up in prison because of that and some other charges and things along those lines. But this is, part of our calling, to help people, especially they can't help themselves. They can't even get out, right? They're stuck in that place. It's a perfect place for you to go talk to them, visit them. So back in 2003, my friend, over here in the front row, my friend Hannah, who was later my girlfriend and then my wife, first visited Taiwan. That's 18 years ago. And we're not telling you how old we are today, and by the way, you have to figure it out. In 2005, she also came back to Taiwan and lived here for 9 months with another friend, and that started her journey in Taiwan. Back in 2005, we graduated from a private Christian school called Independence Christian Academy. Independence is a city of about 6,000 people. It's kind of like Zhongliao, where we live now. It's really small. But 6,000 people in Iowa. We're from Iowa. Idaho, right? Living in Iowa. And when you live in Iowa, there's only 3 million people in the whole state, right? 3 million people. But Iowa's 4 times larger than Taiwan. So there's not very many people there. So 6,000 people city means we're the government head of our county. We're the largest city in our county, right? 6,000 people. It's crazy. So we graduated from this high school back in 2005. You can tell I'm kind of a bright person, right? Bright colors. All right, in 2007, I graduated from Hawkeye Community College. I went there for a 2-year degree. I got my associate degree just in general studies. They call it gen ed, just your gen eds. Then in the pursuant years after that, I sometimes worked 47 hours a week. And actually, while I was in college too, 47 hours a week, at sometimes three different jobs. While in college, doing 12 to 17 credit hours. I was working really hard. Any of you who work really hard? Yeah? Working jobs or studying very hard, hardly getting any sleep, sleeping like 3 or 5 hours a night. You ever been there, right? I know a lot of you are. You probably worked harder than I did to do your schooling and to go through the things you did. And somebody was asking me the other day about this. They said, well, what happened? They know there's more to the story. If you'd say, well, I worked 47 hours a week and I did 12 to 17 credit hours. They said, well, what happened to you? Actually, one day I was on my way home from classes and I was getting ready to go to a birthday party. I was pumped for going to a birthday party and I fell asleep while I was driving. I was just too worn out. I couldn't do it anymore. I'd done it for so long. I was getting ready to come to Taiwan in June. And so it was just 3 months away. I was trying to earn the money, that I needed to get there. I was trying to also pay off all my bills. Thankfully, when I got out of college, everything was paid off. I got a few grants and scholarships, and also I worked really hard. And so I was able to pay everything off. But I fell asleep at the wheel, and thankfully I didn't hurt anybody else. Thankfully I didn't hurt myself. It was during the time of snow, and I went into the ditch where there's a lot of snow there, and I was protected. I didn't die. Thankfully, I made it to Taiwan. Yeah, you're all saying yes. So I can hear his presentation today, right? So I was very thankful for God preserving my life there. So I was so determined to come to Taiwan that I even baked cookies, right? Me, baked cookies. It was kind of felt like it was beneath me at the time. But I baked cookies and sold cookies. They were good cookies. Everybody loved my cookies. They're great. And they're prepackaged actually at the store. I bought them and just stuck them in the oven. But anyway, I had a great time doing that, earning the money that I needed. So finally in 2007, I came for the first time. That's 14 years ago. And I helped this missionary here, Linda Tobman, who was working in Taiwan. She worked here for 20 years from, I believe, 1992 to 2012. So that's one of the questions later. When did I come to Taiwan? 2007. Remember that one? And we're up in Geelong eating some seafood there, enjoying our seafood. But this is when I first came. And from this time, God began to work in my heart. And I just developed more of a love for people, especially the Taiwanese people, but people of all places and all ethnic backgrounds. So this is Linda, just a little bit of a tribute to her in her ministry here. She mostly worked with the children. She was like a grandma, like a grandma to everyone. She loved all the kids and started children's ministries that I'll tell you about shortly that we continue up until this day. This was her in 2012. They made a memorial for her, just one for each year in Zhongliao, because she was in Taichung in the beginning and then moved up into Zhongliao after the 9/21 earthquake. And that's originally why our ministry is there. We came to help this woman. She was traveling around in the USA, and she came to our church, told us about what she was doing, and so we got inspired to come help her in that. So in 2007, I had a short-term trip. It was 2 months. I absolutely loved it. I enjoyed what I was doing. I was like, yeah, I feel like I'm making a difference. I feel like I'm doing something of value with my life. There's so many things that we can choose to do, right? There's so many options out there. But to see lives touched and lives changed, and it's adrenaline pumping. It's the stuff that catches you like drugs, It's just amazing. I also received lots of opportunities. Hey, baby. Lots of opportunities to to speak in public, which is something that I was very afraid of when I was younger. In the USA, at least when I was going to college 100 years ago, the top thing that people were afraid of was spiders. Everybody's afraid of spiders. Anybody afraid of spiders? This is the one you can raise your hand if you want to. No, nobody's afraid of spiders. Oh, we got honest person in the back. All right, I love honest people. Okay, so if you're afraid of spiders, in the USA, that was number one fear. Everyone's afraid of spiders. They say you eat like 8 spiders every year while you're sleeping. Don't think about it too much. But the second fear of people was public speaking, right? I even took what do they call it in college? It was it was like stage fright. They call it stage fright public speaking class, where it wasn't a class like this or like 100 or 200 or so people. It was only a small class of like 30 people. So then what they started you out doing was just speaking in a small group, right? You did a speech in a small group, and then you did a bigger group, bigger group. You finally got 30 people, and you felt accomplished, right? That was me. I was afraid to speak in front of you. You're asking what happened? Well, God changed my life. So plus lots of experience and lots of stuttering, right, through things. But I got opportunities to speak, and that really, really helped in our church and also in other churches and other things too, like going to nursing homes and things like that in our area. Now, I also got the opportunity to be the keynote speaker at my little brother, Kyle, his graduation. He's about 3 years younger than me. So it was a great privilege for me to be able to speak at that graduation and look so young there. Wow. And then in 2008, I also returned to Taiwan. This is the second time back with my friend Gabriel. And Gabriel is one of my classmates, my Shanshuiyan Tongban Tongshui from Bible school, right? My classmate. And we came, and here's Grace, our friend, working over in Zhongliao. We're up shopping at probably Fengjia or something like that. You know, we like the night market in Taiwan. Night market, awesome. So we had a great time. And we were here for about 35 days, I think, that time. Then in 2009, we got married. I married the love of my life, my wife Hannah, over here. And we stayed back in the USA. We wanted to come to Taiwan, but couldn't raise the money. Getting married is expensive, right? We did it very, very cheap. We kind of cut off all the extra stuff and able to be married a little younger. I was married at 22, by the way. No, 21. I was 21. I wasn't quite 22 at the time. People in the USA get married, younger. Anyway, so back in 2009, and we stayed back and helped in youth camps, things along those lines during that summer. So we're continuing, just continuing to minister, continue to help. These are just the counselors at the camp. We had probably 150 kids there. Now, in 2010, I came back again and brought more friends. When you're very interested in something, when something gets a hold of your life, you want to take other people with you. You want to encourage other people in that thing. If you've got a passion, right? If you like to play basketball. Anybody like to play basketball? Right? Nobody likes to play basketball? I don't believe you. I'm going to have to work a little harder to get you engaged in this speech. All right, so I love basketball. Basketball is awesome. I'm 6'5", which actually helps a little bit in basketball. Probably I can block most of your shot. Anybody got a killer jumper in here? Anybody got an awesome jumper? I can see a few people being like, I want to be discreet. I don't want to, tell them, that I'm that great. But okay, so let's play some ball afterwards. How about it? So I like to play ball, right? I'm a pretty tall guy. It's a great desire of mine. It's something I like to do. I go over to the elementary school and shoot hoops all the time. But none of those kids, they want to take me on anymore. They're tired of getting their shot blocked. Those little elementary school students. I'm just kidding. Lighten up, guys. Just take it easy. So that's an interest of mine. So also Taiwan, coming to Taiwan was an interest, was a desire. So I began to bring other people with me and encourage other people to come along. Then in 2010, I graduated from Free Gospel Bible Institute, or FGBI for short, over in Pennsylvania. At that time, I got an ETA license that went along with that. And then right after that, we hit the road, Jack. We got on the road, and we traveled for 1 year around the USA to raise financial support to be able to live here in Taiwan. Taiwan is an awesome nation. I love Taiwan, how cheap it is to live here. It's pretty inexpensive, and we're able to stay here for longer on a lower salary. This enables us to stay here longer, but we do have to go back. I'll tell you about that later. We do have to go back to the USA to raise funds from time to time. But in 2011, we moved here full time in May 2011. So next month is going to be our 10 years. Yeah, we'll have to have like a party or something. You guys are probably not all invited. Sorry, but we'll have a good time. So we moved to Taiwan 10 years ago, and we basically didn't have hardly anything to move. We hadn't accumulated anything. We've been traveling a lot around the USA, so it's not like we got a house and had to sell it, or several cars or anything like that, or a mortgage. But we just moved over to Taiwan, and we started helping in the ministry there in Zhongliao. There was a church there that started after the 9/21 earthquake, and so we worked with them for a while, going to all Chinese church, which was difficult for us because we didn't speak fluently, and still don't, right? Not quite fluent yet, right? Still working. 慢慢好，越来越好. Getting better and better. So, and then 2012, while I was here in Taiwan, I also was doing correspondence studies, and then got my bachelor's degree through Andersonville Theological Seminary in Georgia. And so that was exciting for me. One of these days I'll get to my master's. One of these days I'll get to my doctorate. After we raise a few kids, 4 kids kind of takes a little bit of time, So in 2021, this is my family. So you can see them. 3 of my kids, they were already lured away by chocolate and candy and playground time. So you'll see them here in a little while. They'll come back and you'll get to see them. But you get to see Kaylee. This is my daughter, Kaylee. Oh, the joy and the love of my life. Come here, Kaylee. You look at her. She's so beautiful, isn't she? She wants to talk to you too. Actually, she thinks it's an ice cream cone. She's like, "冰淇淋吗?" So this is my beautiful daughter, Kaylee. So whenever anybody goes to sleep in the class here today, I'm going to get Kaylee. Keep your attention. Okay. So my kids, just when you see them later, you can know who they are, and you can be like, hey, Lucas. And he'll be like, "How do you know me?" So this is me, of course, this big ugly guy here. This is my wife, my beautiful wife, Hannah. This is my oldest son, Lucas. And then here is Mia, my beautiful beloved. That's what Mia means. And then Egan. Egan's name means little fire. He's a fireball. Oh, man. So anyway, Egan, he's the guy with his hat on backwards and his sunglasses up inside his hat. He's a cute little guy. And then, of course, Kaylee, my beautiful Kaylee. So you've met my family here today. When I spoke at Asia University a couple months ago, I didn't bring my family. So you guys have the privilege of meeting my family this time. It's a good thing, though, because I was there like 12 hours. It'd be a long time for my kids. All right, mostly we serve in the Zhongliao area, but also, as you can see, we go other places like Jiaotuan, Nantou, Zhongxing, Xintuan, Beizhongliao, Mingjian, San Lugu, different other cities and places around us. And what do we do in these places? Well, we have 3 main objectives, 3 things we typically do. One is English classes, popular in Taiwan, right? Number 2 is English camps, and we do those occasionally, sometimes volunteering and helping other people's camps, church camps, English class camps, whatever. I've even helped in a soccer camp before. I did English classes in the soccer camp, but it was still a soccer camp. And also church programs. And so it kind of goes, less and less as we go along, right? The English class is our main focus. We do like 70, 80% of what we do in that. And then English camps is only occasionally. And then church programs also only occasionally. Now the English classes, this is a picture of me and the kids from Hushan Guoxiao in Jiaotuan, one of my favorite schools. I like the kids here. They're always like, "Teacher Cody, Teacher Cody, Teacher Cody." So you love to teach like that. Nobody, when I came in today, you guys were pretty friendly, but nobody jumped up and down, "Teacher Cody, Teacher Cody." You see some of you want to do that, but it's okay. Don't be too afraid to do that. So I always like going to this school. The kids always welcome me greatly there. So what we do basically is we go into private and public schools and we volunteer teaching English. We do it completely for free. Everything we do is free. We never charge anybody for anything. Now in the camps later, we do charge a deposit fee, but they get it back, right? It's completely free, all the stuff we do. So we volunteer teaching English in around 15 different schools at one time. Right now it's about 12 schools, and anywhere from 28 to 35 classes a week. Now, after my health started to go down a little bit, I might look really, really healthy to you, but I'm not. After my health started to decline, I started to scale back my classes, and now I only typically teach about 18 to 20 classes a week because it's too much. You see all the different schools. I'm not going to say the names, but these are all the different schools that we've helped at in the last 7 or so years since we've been in the schools. Now it's a lot. It gets to be overwhelming. We also do private English classes. Now these private English classes started back in, if I'm looking at my notes, I think back in, let's see, we got an indication. I can't remember. Do you remember what year they started? We're on like 19th year. So 2003, 2004, something like that. I'm trying to find it here in my notes, but I think I got ahead of myself. So anyway, I had it there, or I wrote it on the bottom of the PowerPoint. So these private English classes we have in Zhongliao, not too far from where our house is. Actually, this is my old living room, the house we had before. But we continue these classes on from Linda, the missionary that was here before us. There's one of your questions. Who was the missionary before us in Zhongliao? It was Linda. And so she started these classes, and we've taught up to 50 kids a semester that come through. We usually do 4 classes a week on Wednesday nights. Last night I had 4 classes. And we do everything all the way to adults. But you'll see some pictures of that. And this is a store we're having where we either raise some money or buy some gifts or something at a store somewhere, and the kids can earn points and they can get gifts from the store. Huan Liu, right? Change the gift, I think is what you guys call it. So our private English classes, we've taught practical and conversational, there we go, since 2002. We've taught practical, and conversational English to 30 to 50 students. Right now, I think we have like 35 or so every semester for 10 years. Now, we've done that since Linda left, right? Or we were working with her and then she left. So this year it's 10 years. Mrs. Linda Tobin, our predecessor, started these back in 2002, wasn't 2003, sorry. Most of the students are from underprivileged homes that have no opportunity to attend class. One of the issues in Zhongliao is that the bus doesn't come back past 7 or something, 7 at night. So the kids have to have a grandma, grandpa, mom or dad take them to class. A lot of them are hardworking, they're busy, they can't take them to cram class in Nantou or another place. And so they have little opportunity, unless they're rich or have more money, to go to bushiban, to go to cram class. So we take them, or we help them to go by performing these classes. We also accept any student that wants to come, regardless of anything. We just allow any kid that wants to attend our class to come. Now here's a few pictures of the kids throughout the years. This girl right here, this cute little girl. I'm teaching her junior high this year. So we've had them for a while. I think she was like 5 at that time. And there she is too with her older sister. I taught all three of the kids, her older sister, younger sister. We also have adult English class as well on Wednesday evening, anywhere from 2 to 5 to 6 adults that attend our classes. Trying to teach them English, have conversational English. This was back in 2008. We had a class even back then, and they actually had about the same amount of adults attending. I do a variant of things, anywhere from like a homework class like this in North Zhongliao, Beizhongliao, which has about the same amount of people as we do, about 6,000. We also have taught there before, just helping in anything and everything. And whenever one of these teachers from the cram school or a principal from an elementary school asks me to come and help them, I come and help them. So I have to learn to say no. Sorry, I can't help you anymore. Usually it's only a scheduled conflict that I cannot. If I have another class at that time, I usually say no. Other than that, I usually always say yes. We've even done private classes at this private institution over in Zhongliao. This is Hushan Elementary School a couple years back, teaching there in the public schools. So usually we teach using stories with vocabulary, sentences, and conversational questions. Typically it's a Bible story that has English sentences and words in it, and also translated into Chinese. And so I've developed that material myself. It took me about 2 years, about 1,000 hours of preparation to do that, but thankfully I had a lot of friends to help translate it. And here's another school in our area. This school is about 85. Typically our schools in Zhongliao, if there's a big school, I'm like, yeah, there's a big school that I go to, it has 105 students or has 85 students. And everyone from Taiwan is like, that's big? In Zhongliao it's big, all right? Because a lot of them only have 30 to 50 students, and they're dying schools, right? They're looking for more kids to come in, otherwise next year they're gonna have to shut down. So they're very scared, a lot of the teachers are, for their jobs because of the low population, children population in Taiwan. And here's one school that we go to once a month. So some of the schools I go to once a month. Most of them, though, are once a week. A couple of them are twice a week. Oh, my mom, she visiting Taiwan a few years ago. Over here in Beizhongliao, North Zhongliao at Qingshui, Guoxiao. And we also go to preschools as well. It's not something I started in the beginning. It's quite hard to talk to kids, especially even in Chinese, right? They have a hard time reading even the Chinese words to be able to know the story. So usually we have a translator, someone to help as well. But I enjoy going in to the schools, whether they're public or private. This one's King David Preschool, Dawei Wang幼儿园 in Nantou. And this is Berkeley over in Chaotuan, different preschools. I love the preschooler kids. The kids are so cute. Where's that one? I don't think we got to it yet. There's a funny story from one of the kids in this class here. I was teaching this class, and one of the kids, they asked the English teacher to translate to me, and she asked me, she said, he's asking you, do you drive from America every day to come to his class? I said, no, I don't do that. I swim, No, swimming takes too long. I get tired about halfway across the ocean. So anyway, we enjoy with the kids, especially they're so cute, right? They ask such cute questions. One of the kids one day, he asked me, we were telling the story about Jesus, and he had died and he rose again. He was asking, well, where is Jesus today, teacher? And I said, well, Jesus is up with God the Father in heaven. He's at the right hand of God the Father. And he's like, can I take an airplane to go see him? So I really enjoy these kids. It's a lot of fun answering all their funny questions. My mom got to come and visit too. We bring lots of people, with us over here. She's looking to come again soon. She hopes to. That's at Hushan Elementary School. So we teach anywhere from, 20 kids sometimes, 15 kids, maybe up to 60 kids. This class that I taught was 60 kids. And when we get into the junior high school, I've taught up to 65 kids in one class at any given time. We also have mentor classes as well, where we work on things like we'll do dramas and speeches as well. These kids are terrified to give speeches, but I can relate, right? I had the stage fright class. I was afraid to give speeches, so I just taught them yesterday at Zhongliao Junior High School and had a great time teaching them. So we also have other schools that are on the waiting list. They want us to come. More schools and more schools are like, well, especially this is American, teaching English, and he does it for free. Every principal's dream, right? They're like, oh, ching, 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 no money. No, doesn't cost anything for him to come, and he's going to teach quality English. At least I hope I teach quality English. They think I do, anyway. So, they're always asking us more and more, this school and that school and the other school. So there's schools even on the waiting list. They're hoping and praying for us to come to their schools. And some other ones are debating with me. They're like, well, you come once a month, but can we do twice a month? I mean, can we just try it at the beginning? Principals are always posturing with me, and I got to be polite, but at the same time, be firm and say, well, I also have a family. I have 4 kids, and I have other things to do. It's a very busy ministry. So at times, we pray, God, send us some help to help us in the task at hand. We do other various things, various opportunities that we have, various ministries like speaking at graduation to encourage the kids, things like that. Sometimes, kind of grading what their English abilities are. This kid right here is getting ready to go with a group from their school. I think it was Wanjiang Guoxiao in Lugu, and he was getting ready to go on a trip to the Philippines a couple of years ago. And they were going to have to speak in English while they were there. So he was introducing himself to me, and I was kind of saying, well, you can work on this, say it a little differently, say it like this. And so we'll work with the kids a lot in their English ability, or like I said, speaking at graduations to encourage them, and just being there for the kids, counseling them. We've also done champions English classes. Now these, I think it's Dasunza, right? Dasunza. Yeah, the champions classes that some pastors do in different schools. Sometimes the schools will ask them to come. It's character building, curriculum, emotional management was one of the topics that we did there. We also do other things like Thanksgiving feasts. These are seasonal activities that we do just occasionally. This was back in 2016. I think we had 100 people come, and then next year was like 140. And then in 2017, we did it at a different school, 2 schools combined, had about the same. They love it. They think it's great. You come together, eat lots of food, there's prizes, and you get to put on Indian headdress and go, so there's lots of fun. I mean, every kid's dream. It's great. So we also did one last year. We had about 80 people in one of the schools, and everybody loved it. They thought it was the best thing in the whole wide world. And I love Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays. We also do Christmas activities. No surprise there, right? The tall guy in the back, not me, definitely not me. Dressed up as Santa Claus, and I enjoy doing that one. I fit a lot better into the suits these days for some reason. I'm saying I'm getting fat, in case you didn't get that wink, wink, right? But thankful for these opportunities to go and be with the kids. The kids all make me out Christmas cards, right? Thank you, Santa, or this is what I want for Christmas, Santa. And this school, when I told the Christmas story, this birth story of Jesus, most of them had never heard of Jesus before. They didn't even know the name of Jesus. Who is Jesus? Who is that guy? Jesus should say, who is that guy? They didn't know anything about him, so they never heard the story of Jesus before. So it was a great privilege for me to be the first one. We'll even do songs. Don't ask me to sing today, but we'll sing, Silent Night, sing like that, karaoke style or something. But we have a great time teaching manners and customs. That's one of my favorite subjects, to teach manners and customs, especially Jewish customs of those in Israel many years ago, but American customs as well, things that we do. A lot of American customs center around eat lots of food. So that's a pretty easy thing to teach, right? What kind of foods do we eat at which holidays? And then also lots of fun that is also very dangerous. So, as long as you know those two things, you'll do great teaching manners and customs. We've even done Christmas dinners as well. This dinner we had, I think, 100 or 100 plus, 120 people in Zhongliao. You have, offer free food and people just come. So sometimes we'll do it at my house, have activities, Christmas activities at my house, on my roof, play some cornhole. Anybody played cornhole before? Cornhole is lots of fun, big hit in the States the last few years. No, still no hands? Okay. All right, Christmas dramas. We also do that with the kids. And I'm not dressed up right now, but usually they'll put me as Santa Claus, no surprise. And then we also do things like Christmas songs in the park, different activities like that. You remember when we did this, right? Just at a random park outside the house there. And mentoring university students, just a variety of things. I had the opportunity to meet with Campus Crusader for Christ in Taiwan, about 18 university students, and they asked me questions for 2 hours. They're like, well, what about this and what about that? And when you do this and do that and minister to people, and they were wanting to know a lot. They were just interested about our time in Taiwan, and I enjoyed it, because I got to talk. Like today, I get to talk, to a lot of people for a long time, and I like to do that kind of. And the other thing that we do is English camps. So this is back in 2007, a camp that we had back then. Now, English camps, typically we host them, like I said, completely free. The only thing we charge is a deposit in the beginning, and then we give the deposit back to them as long as they come, to the camp. That's just so everybody that signed up comes, because otherwise we'll have 500 people sign up to come and 50 come. But usually we have about 100 kids, 120 kids come. So summer and sometimes winter camps for underprivileged children in the Zhongliao area, allowing around 80 to 100 students to attend. It's always more than that. I always say yes, yes, yes. More kids can come. It's always over 100. We usually recruit volunteers from the USA and Taiwan to help, usually around 30 or 40 people, and even Ife's helped at times, in the camp before. We have a lot of fun. People from all over Taiwan, all over the world coming to help together. Also raising funds to offer and conduct a free camp. So if the kids aren't paying for it, someone's got to pay for it, right? So we got to get the funds. And also renting facilities, arranging meals, scheduling classes and subjects, and directing operations. This is one of my most fun things to do. To be the captain of the ship, to be able to direct everyone and all the activities and stuff. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of what God built me to do, basically. So back in 2007, we had a camp, and this was exciting to be a part of this camp. This is one of my first times where I was just like, I'm addicted to the ministry. I love it, because I got to speak to the kids. Like one of the last nights, we were having a prayer service, and it was awesome. The kids were getting their lives touched and ministered to in a mighty way. So it was great. We had a lot of fun in that camp. And then also I've even done camps in 2007 up in Taipei. I can't remember the name of the school that we were working at, because at that time everything that people said to me in Chinese sounded the same, right? I don't really remember where we went or what we did if it was in Chinese. So I can't tell you which school. But in 2010, we hosted our first camp where I was like the actual director, and I led everything. It was thrown in my lap at the last minute because the director got sick. So I was like, let me think about that for a minute. I have no idea what's going on. So we worked through it. It was difficult, though. I slept like 3 hours a night and had a headache every single day. It was also difficult getting used to the food as well, because we had like cafeteria style food, from this random vendor. Oh, one of the most disappointing things for me, just to share this with you because you guys are all, adults and stuff. So anyway, one of the most difficult times concerning food that I've had in Taiwan. Usually people in the USA ask me this question all the time. They say, what is it? And I can tell you what it was, is when at this camp, we've got this dish. And what looked like chicken fingers, chicken, not chicken, actual chicken fingers, but, boneless chicken inside. Like a chicken nugget that's really long is what it looked like, right? Ji kwai, right? A chicken nugget. Looked like a chicken nugget. Well, when I'd been into it, I found out it wasn't chicken. It wasn't a nugget. It also had, it was a fish. It had fish, and it was an impregnated fish that had little baby fishes inside. and it still had the skin on it and everything. And so for someone that wouldn't eat any of those things, let alone all of those things together, it was quite difficult for me, very disappointing, right? Thinking it's a chicken nugget, so you can imagine, right? And you're like, oh, that's a specialty. No, no, no. I thought it was gross. Anyway, so it was difficult during the week there to struggle through some of those conditions, but we had a great time. We saw the kids really learn a lot. And most of these kids, probably 70% of them, had never even heard of who Jesus is before. So we got to tell them about that. So that was exciting for us. Now, I also did things like in 2011, I had a basketball camp. We had a great time doing that. You just throw the basketball around. You teach them some fundamentals about the sport. And we also had a baking camp that same year. Now, the basketball camp didn't do as well as the baking camp, I guess because you can't eat the basketball, right? But the baking camp, she had like, I don't remember how many students. She had like 30, 40 students. I was going to say 30. She says 40. Okay. But I only had like 20 students or so. They liked her camp more than mine. So I'm still trying to get over that. But, you couldn't eat the equipment in basketball camp. So that was great. She made a dish during the day, I think, or during the morning or something, and then later did a baking goods. So they got to eat cookies and pizza. I mean, I loved it better than my camp. So in 2013, we were involved in an AEF camp. They do this over in Nanto. It means American E-Friend. Connect with an American and keep, in contact with them so they can kind of mentor you. And in the camp, I did this. I don't know why it's scrolling through all the slides. Anyway, the AEF camp, I did a class in there where we taught Bible stories to kids who were, how do you say it? Impaired. I was trying to think of the word, impaired. Well, one of them was visually impaired. Some of them were other mentally impaired. And so it was very challenging to try to teach them a story. So we used music. This teacher here is pretty smart. We used some music and a lot of drama, a lot of silly stuff, putting a chair up on your shoulders and using an umbrella and things like that. Try to get the kids to understand. It was challenging, but it was also very rewarding to be able to teach them. And then in 2016, we did a winter camp where we had baking, other things. So we had mostly to do inside. We were going to do some outdoors activities, but it rained on us, but also English classes, things along those lines. And in 2017, I did another camp where I hosted the camp. It was completely free, like always. And we had around 90 kids, I think, come there. And I had 4 American teachers come from the USA to help from one Bible school. And then 2 years later, in 2019, we had about 7 American teachers come from the USA from 2 different Bible schools. And so that was pretty exciting for me to be able to bring them here and to take them around Taiwan, show them all the sites and things like that, and prepare for the camp, and then direct the camp. It was one of the most joyous things in my life to be able to be involved in that. I love being involved in the youth camps. It's a lot of fun. Here's another picture, the youth camp there. Also in Chaotuan, every semester, I help out in different things, like also in camps. Do these camps where we have anywhere from 30 to 50, I think it's closer to 50 kids this last time. Just volunteer in teaching English during the camps. Usually it's telling a Bible story. This time I think we told about Daniel and, Daniel and Joseph, I think. Yeah, Daniel and Joseph. So it was a lot of fun teaching the kids there. So the third thing, the last thing, the final thing, you're like, the final thing, that's good to hear, right? Church programs. So we do a lot of church programs, a lot of different things. It's amazing how diverse this part is, right? So many different church programs, some in Taichung, right? Some in Nanto, some up in Geelong. This is up in Geelong with a pastor and some friends. And this, we're starting a, what do they call that? Where they use the Legos or whatever to teach. Oh, I forget. Somebody shout it out. Or use like Legos to teach math and science and all this other stuff. I forget what they call it. Anyway, I was helping my friend to open those classes. We were talking about 4th of July because that's when he opened it, the 4th of July weekend. So we talked about the USA and celebrating our Independence Day and things along those lines. So I helped my friend there to start the classes. So that's what we do, just anything. We help other people in anything that we can. This is a church in Jushan who they have a lot of kids, especially from difficult backgrounds, underprivileged, yes, and some of them where their mom is from another country, so it's difficult for them growing up. Their parents can't quite help them with their homework, and they're very busy all the time. So we're teaching an English class there at this church, helping them in that. Then there's all kinds of other programs, anything from preaching to helping at special events where I just have to say a line in English. Salvation is from our God, the one who sits on the throne, and to the Lamb. The what is that? Feast of Tabernacles, right? Joining in the Feast of Tabernacles, and there's us over here. Lots of youth group activities. It's great to be involved with youth. That was the first thing that I was involved in, was with youth, and then finally moved to the children, like this drama. I like to do drama stuff. It's lots of fun to act goofy, and you have a reason to do it, right? Like we had these kids, about 30 kids, come on Saturdays, and we did all these cool things, showing the stories or illustrating trust, right? Fall back and trust. We've done Easter outreaches, different activities like this, canvassing the area, just spreading the love of God, right? Telling them Jesus loves you, and we do too. We've also done, I wonder if you recognize that person over there. That's Ife. Visiting nursing homes, especially around Christmas time. Just a wide range of things that we like to be involved in. Have our hands in just about anything and everything. Also, back in 2011, that was when we first moved here. We got to visit the facility up in Elan. Anybody, I don't know why this is scrolling through the pictures. Anybody ever been there before to this facility in Elan? I can't believe nobody's been there. All right. Have you heard of it before? Anyone heard of it? Yeah, you just told us, teacher. Okay, whatever. Anyway, so we got to visit this facility in Elan and feed the kids and play with them and stuff. These are a lot of people that are typically neglected. To encourage those who are overlooked. Sometimes their families, I know they're busy, but they'll take them there and leave them there over the weekend or for weeks and not come and visit them. So we were able to visit these people, and it was pretty fun to do. Now, one of the most exciting things for me to do, I'm thankful for all the things that we get to volunteer in, but as a minister, I treat the whole man, not just the knowledge part of the man, the brain part where I'm teaching them English. But I also like to encourage them by praying for, I don't know why this thing is scrolling, praying for and encouraging youth whenever I get the chance, seeing their lives change, seeing needed healing smiles, come over their faces. It's exciting for me to be able to be a part of this and to see relationships with God and with others restored. Now, also I'm thankful for the opportunity to go to other nations, other countries. These are just a few thrown up here. Different nations that we've been able to go to and help out. Whenever I hear of the chance, I'm always rearing to jump at the opportunity, but I can't always go, especially now that we have kids. But in 2013, I got to go to Japan, and we did a variety of activities there, a camp, a conference, and other things. There was a lot of people represented from Israel, a few, Japan. Obviously, we're in Japan, so that was most of the people. Korea, the Miyako Islands, which are the islands really close to Taiwan, some of the closest. The Okinawan Islands from Singapore, Taiwan, and USA, right? We got to represent the USA there. It was lots of fun and a great activity. And what we got to see there, one of the coolest things was people coming together and trying to reconcile, right? Reconcile, right? Especially nations, past difficulties. So this nation attacked that nation, and there's some bitterness there between peoples, even till today. And so to see them reconcile one with another, the church doing what the church is supposed to do, it was just really, really powerful and very touching. I about cried the whole time. That's how touching it was. I got to meet people from this guy's from Miyako Islands. I got to meet people from all over Taiwan. They look so diverse there in Japan. In Korea, we got to teach in children's camps. This one was in Iksan down in the southwestern part of the island of South Korea, and then also in Tain was a mission start. They're starting a church there with the kids. We only had like 2 or 3 kids the first day, and then the next day we had more, and the next day we had more, and they all went and told their friends how much fun they were having because they got to see me dressing up as a doctor. And had my stethoscope, and I was checking the heart to see what's inside the heart. And we had a lot of fun doing those things at the camp. And then in 2017, I got to go with SENT. It stands for Student Evangelism to the Nation Teams. My good friend, Dr. Paulman, He lives in Mentor, Ohio. He's been a friend for many years. One of the first churches that I went to speak about my calling to Taiwan was his church. And so I got to go with him on this missions trip to the Philippines. It was exciting. We got to go to the Bible school. Oh, yeah. So this was back in 2017. I put this part of the presentation together. He had been taking 200 Bible school students on 20 missions trips to 20. He's personally visited 25 countries and even Taiwan 6 times. So this pastor really is a well-traveled missionary in the world, one of my good friends. I enjoyed going with him. So in the Philippines, we taught in the Bible college that they had. They had about 30 students there, about 15 male, 15 female. Also in public schools, which is my heart throb, my heart beats, for the kids in the public schools, and also in churches in Luwag. We had a lot of fun. It's so funny. This is a young man in the Philippines. He's only like this. It was very fun to play basketball with these guys, right? It wasn't too challenging. They were only about this high. So I got on my knees to make it easier for him. No, I'm kidding. But all the kids, they were just great. They kept running up. There was one of the girls that was with us. She had really long hair, and the kids all kept coming up and touching the hair, like, wow, we've never seen this. So beautiful. The kids are just awesome. They're so authentic. Now, also, another thing that we do is we go back to the USA every few years and we itinerate. We don't just go back and we sit down and we're like, we can relax, right? They call it a furlough, and you're supposed to relax, but we don't. We're also very busy in the United States. Now, back in 2018 was the last time we were able to be in the States. Thank COVID for that. But we hope to get back to our family one of these days and see them. But usually we report facts, we raise funds, and we inspire friends. These are our key goals when we go back to the United States and we travel around the country. Now, altogether, back in 2018, now this is each time we go back, right? We do this kind of stuff. We went to 65 churches in 20 states, driving around 300 hours. That's 24,000 km, by the way. Put it in perspective. I think it ends up being 15,000 miles, right? 24,000 kms in 118 days. So that's on average, I'm driving 11.5 hours. No, what is it? Yeah, something like that, 11.5. No, what is it? Anyway, this biking trail in Taiwan is about 925 km. Anybody done the biking trail around Taiwan? You done it? No, you haven't. Okay, anyway, I haven't either. But if you went around this trail here, 525 km, you'd have to do it 26 times to do what I did back in 2018, traveling around the USA, all around those different states. So go around Taiwan 26 times, then you start to understand what I did in 3 or 4 months, right? So it's very busy, challenging, but it's also very rewarding. Typically, there it is, drive 3 or 4 hours a day. I think it's if you go around Taiwan in 11.5 hours, that's what it was. So sometimes 15 hours a day. One day we did 15 hours. We thought it was a little bit closer than it was. We thought it was going to take like 10, but then there was also traffic, so it took 15. There's my kids smiling. This is one of the few times my kids smiled while stuck in the car. All the other times they were like, Dad, get us out of the car. We don't want to be in the car anymore. So sometimes I get to speak to around 400 people. And sometimes only 40, sometimes 4, just small churches, big churches, all kinds, sometimes Bible schools. We usually set up a display table with an email sign-up sheet, snacks, pictures, money, things like that. Show this is what Taiwan money looks like. Everyone's like, wow, it's so beautiful, looks so cool. It's like, yeah, the Taiwanese like it too, They love money as well. And then we put like different snacks out here. They can try different things like dried fish and things along those lines. And we made photo books for them to look at pictures, and even some homemade cars. See, that looks like me, right? That's pretty good. One of the kids drew, pretty good imitation. We also like to answer questions about Taiwan. So here in Taiwan, I answer questions about the USA all the time. People are like, what's it like and stuff. Back in the USA, I answer questions about Taiwan. And when I'm at home, I answer questions for my kids about everything. So we also, my wife got to present Taiwan in the children's school class. The kids were all like, wow, Taiwan's so cool. We want to go there someday. They had a lot of fun learning about Taiwan. Now, in different times, I get the opportunity to attend missions conferences as well in the United States. This is our church hosting one back in 2010, and we have one every year. At this conference, there was people there from Africa, actually Africans, Haitians. There was missionaries from Honduras that were representing Honduras, and then some Indian friends and us representing Taiwan. Now, it was a great time, like every conference that we had there. But it's also my privilege, to be able to display Taiwan and tell people about Taiwan. These are different missions conferences. Like back in 2018, I got to be at this conference in Missouri and hold the Taiwan flag. It felt so good, right? Felt very humbled to have the opportunity that they wanted me to represent Taiwan. Because I'm starting to look Taiwanese, don't you think? I'm really close, pretty close. I figured after a while I would anyway. So there's about 1,000 people there when the place was full. In 2016, I got to speak at another missions conference. It was very exciting. Last time we did what we call our WC World Evangelism Convention. That was the one back in 2010, same kind. And we had our good friend there, Todd Sloggett. Now he is an American who does a phenomenal job in the USA, reaching out to all kinds of people. He especially tries to reach for the vulnerable peoples. They help minister to the homeless, to the drug addict, to the prostitute, to the young pregnant mother. Anyone who's in a difficult situation that other people don't want to help, he will help those people. Every year they reach hundreds of thousands of people in the United States. And so he was at the missions conference, and it was my great privilege to be speaking alongside him. It was just an exciting time. So I get to meet people like this all the time. I get to rub shoulders with people like this who do great things. Now these are just pictures. I'm going to scroll through here pretty fast. This is Bible college presidents that I get to meet while I'm out traveling and encourage them. Please send us help so we can do more in Taiwan, so we can do better. And then I get to meet pastors. I meet professors, people of all kinds of backgrounds and ages and stature and weight capacity and things along those lines. So it was an exciting time to meet all these different people. Like I said, we went to 65 churches, so don't worry, I don't have 65 pictures in here. 64 or 63 only. So I got to meet lots of cool people. I also meet a lot of missionaries as we're out going to missions conferences. Like this guy here is a superintendent of the Assemblies of God area, the area of Oceania, all the islands and Southeast Asia part. Different missionaries. Like this guy here, he's been a missionary for 40 years in Mexico. So I get to meet people like this, and they can give me advice and help me to do a better job here in Taiwan. Or meeting professors. Like this is a professor from Bible college. He's 90 years old and he's still ministering in the USA, still preaching in the USA. It's amazing. And then meeting Bible college students, or Bible college classmates, sorry. Like this is my pastor, actually. He's my pastor now. He was my Tongban Tongshui from Shanshuiyuan, right? We sat at the same table together, like during Bible college, but he's my pastor now. And then other friends, this one has come with me before, Gabriel. And then meeting different families, like this family, a family of 9, they have 9 kids. And we sat out in this restaurant's parking lot for 4 hours until 2 a.m. And they were asking me questions about Taiwan over and over. Well, what is Taiwan like? What about this and what about that? And they're very interested. They wanted to know. And so it was my privilege to sit there and answer the questions. Or I got to meet this Dr. Burkett right before he passed away. He passed away 1 month later. He was an 89-year-old missionary, been to 49 countries, 56 years of ministry experience, and to learn from them. Oh, it's my great joy and privilege to have opportunities like this. Or these state representatives that I've got to meet before, and some of them are very much involved in helping others, like the one here, Tony McBrayer in Alabama. They have a peanut butter and Jesus ministry. Instead of peanut butter and jelly, it's peanut butter and Jesus, and they take sandwiches and distribute these peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to the poor kids in the area, sometimes thousands of sandwiches and sacked lunches all around their area. And so they've actually encouraged other people from other places, and this has caught on, and people have done it more and more in different places. Also in Taiwan, the Taiwanese have been so good to us. Thankfully, the van that we drove here today, an organization in Taiwan saw fit to give us that van. They were excited about the ministry that we're doing here in Taiwan, and they wanted to help us and bless us, and we're so thankful for that. We've also been on TV 5 times. I don't think we're that interesting, but I guess maybe they ran out of news, right? Nothing else really going on. but they interviewed us. They want to know, why are we here in Taiwan? Why are we doing what we're doing? And maybe you have that question here today. Maybe you're asking, why are we here, and why would we come? Why not be with our family? You know, don't you love your family? Yes, I do love my family a lot. I can't wait to see them again. We also bring other people with us. Why do we do that? Why do we encourage other people to come? Because Taiwan's a great tourist area? Yeah, that too. But there's deeper than that. So we bring lots of friends with us, groups, students from Bible colleges, our family members. This is my wife's father and mother, some other friends with us. One of my favorite things to do is reading with my kids. Like I did a couple nights ago, we read like 8 chapters of a book. Reading the Christmas story at Grandpa and Grandma's house with this is my daughter Mia when she was younger, Lucas, and it's my nephew Mason. So this is one of my most favorite things, is to be able to be with my family and enjoy time with them. My father had 12 brothers and sisters, so this is 30% of my family. This is only 1/3 of my family on my father's side, right? My mother's side, she only had one brother and one sister. But there's a big family. We've got a lot of family members, right? There's a lot of people to see. This was back in 2018. About 1/3 of us got together. So why do I leave my family? Why come here to Taiwan? That's a very good question. I'm going to answer in a minute. So here's some of my nieces and nephews. I have 11 nieces and nephews, 11 of them, and can't wait to see them. Wish I could see them more. But here's the answer right here. Love compels me. That's why I come here to Taiwan. That's why we live here as a family, and that's why we minister. That's why I say yes too many times to all the different ministries and all the different classes, because I want to be able to share God's love. God loves you, and God loves me, and God loves everyone. And I want him to use me to share that love and shine the light in this world. So that's the end of the presentation. Thank you so much.